Spoilers, people. It is time once again for our third actual episode of this podcast.
Yes, welcome to We All Have an X-Chromosome. I'm Noelle Dial.
And I am Bill, and my name is Pinneck to pronounce, and I'd rather not go off and say the last name.
Okay, yes. Thank you for all of your reviews on your various podcast platforms. Those really help us out. The more reviews we get, 5-star is preferred, the more likely we are to get noticed by the algorithms and thus get boosted and thus eventually get sponsors so we can afford stuff so we sound even better. Please rate and review us, like and subscribe, just so we can keep bringing this podcast to you. We do appreciate your support, and without our audience, we would just be screaming into the void. So, thank you for listening. We had a suggestion this week for a story request, I think is the best way to put this. One of our listeners wrote in and wanted us to talk about in the future health inequality. This is a big topic, so we can probably spread that out over a few episodes. Our listener specifically wanted us to talk about reproductive health inequality because there's a lot of that. If you haven't noticed in the news, there's a lot of abortion bans floating out there in legislature land, which, is a gross reproductive health injustice, specifically impacts people who can get pregnant. Besides abortion bans, the reproductive health injustice continues because if you happen to be on Team Womb, you don't have the control over your body that Team Dick has, and that's not cool. But that's a huge big issue. We want your stories on that. Please write us in if you have had an experience where you were denied access to healthcare simply because you have a uterus. We would be happy to talk about your shit because, I can search the internet and get a bunch of stories too. But, yeah, there's a big health inequality topic, and we'll be breaking it down. We'll be covering reproductive health inequality. We'll be hitting racial health inequality because that's a big thing too. Black women die because nobody takes them seriously. And then there's a body type health inequality. Specifically
Just fat.
women. Yeah. Are you fat? That's all that's wrong with you. And that's some serious bullshit. And then we've got the wealth inequality, healthcare access inequality, the ridiculous cost of prescriptions. We've got a lot of things, and on our alternate non-guest weeks, we will be breaking into stuff like that. But send us all your stories. Don't feel bad if we don't cover them immediately. And we may be asking some of those of you that write it in be part of a panel show about whatever your particular inequality issue is. So that can be some fun.
Can be. So what we want you to do is we have an email address. It's write us at xchromosomepodcast.com. You don't just have to write us about this. Write us about anything.
Yeah, tell us your stories. Tell us awesome stories, because a lot of digging into stuff is super depressing and rage inspiring. And I would like stories about kittens too. Send us cat pictures. No, post cat pictures to our Facebook page. Tweet cool stuff at us. Tweet things that you see at us. We have an Instagram. We have a Facebook. We have Twitter. I think
X-Chromosome Pod. X-Chromosome Pod. Instagram, I believe, is also the same exact thing. In regards to that. Facebook, we are at www.facebook.com/we all have an X chromosome. And basically, how the social media currently breaks down is Noelle is all things Facebook. I basically just browse the Twitter and post things to the Facebook that I see on the Twitter. Unfortunately, some people that may be wrestling fans will find that I will be posting things that are wrestling related because that's something that I want to bring up too in regards to the news of the week, so to speak. But speaking of news and weeks and things like that, we're going to try to go through and do a little bit of a format shuffle for this. We're not going to try to do weekly guests anymore because we want to be able to focus on our guests. So we're going to do guests every other week so that we can take topics and we could rage about them if necessary.
Yes. So every other week we are going to have another live person to talk to. Tonight we have somebody pretty awesome. That should be really fun. He is fresh from South by Southwest, and we will be introducing him shortly. But in the alternate weeks, and this was going to start last week, but I got upper respiratory plague and was dead and could not breathe or talk without sounding like I was hacking up a lung, and nobody wants to listen to that. That is some shitty radio. So next week is going to be our first topic dive.
So while we're waiting for our guest, let's just do a mini topic dive, so to speak, if we can.
Okay.
There's things that have come up that I think we could both geek out over or both go through and celebrate. That is actually good things, so to speak.
Yeah.
One of the good things.
Last episode was super angry. I would like to squeal for like 2 seconds about how fucking amazing Captain Marvel is. Everybody go see it. Goose is the best. I don't have feelings, but that movie gave me feelings, and none of them were about the amazing space cat. That's my spoiler-free review.
In my spoiler-free review is that while Noel had an emotion during the movie, I was full of the feels. I was bawling throughout like the whole entire time. Some of it in just general bawling, some of it in laughter. I went to one of those fancy theaters where they serve you at your seat. You didn't have to wait in line for popcorn. I had nachos that actually required a knife and fork because they were that messy. And I'm sitting here watching this movie, and I'm like, the movie itself was a worthwhile experience. At some point, me and Noel might go through and do a geeky spoiler full review, which will be set for Patreon for people that want to actually hear those type of spoilers. If we decide to sit down and get that. One other thing I want to bring up, which is also a celebration type thing in my mind, as it's been all over basically, I am a pro wrestling fan. The WWE has officially announced that the main event at WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, will be the women's Raw title match. This is the first time in 35 WrestleManias that the women will be closing out the show.
Okay, that's
it's
cool.
going to be Charlotte. It's going to be Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and the man, Becky Lynch. Now, for those that don't know, Becky Lynch calls herself the man because when it comes down to the company, she is the one that you want to pay attention. Thus, she is the man. She literally comes to the ring now in a black t-shirt with white letters that say the man. And it's basically it's not supposed to be this big feminist movement type thing. The fact that I'm going through wearing a shirt that says the man on it is literally nothing about me being the man. It's a Spitfire Irish woman being the man. So it's awesome. I hope Becky Lynch wins. She deserves everything that she gets. it's looking that even though nothing's official, that'll be done probably tonight while we're recording. In regards to hopefully tonight we'll find that out that Kofi Kingston will finally get his title match, which hopefully will be the match right before women's match. So hopefully non-toxic masculinity will win the day, and we'll have that going through too. So.
Superhero swag back in the day. Hit my local comic shop, fair reads, fair play. Eye patch, black trench, got the stash on point. Ready to assemble, blow the roof off this joint. Oh, what's that? Avengers about to hit the deck? Oh heck, just call me Fury if you're ever curious about the crew so bad. We show the world from some heinous shit. World's greatest in this, like the brother of a god who put shame to side. Oh shit, I might be crossing the streams. That's cool, makes no difference. Marvel, DC, I know some people got that Batman disease. Vigilante justice acting mild mannered, scene famous. Utila belt sidekick, bird theme. Parents spit it hard, he's letting off some steam. Good in the movies, cause actor hate theme. Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. A little X-Men thrown up your sleeve. What would it be like if we could be? Come on, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. A little X-Men thrown up your sleeve. What would it be like if we could be?
Alright, so you're going to probably notice that I went through and dropped some music down before we came here. This episode and the last episode we've been recording on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing to run on, especially when you want to bring people on and have like live people talking. Unfortunately, Discord can be a little bit sneaky and all of a sudden stop recording.
Yeah, so it did that.
Yeah. And unfortunately for everybody else, we've had one person that got to listen to that second hour because they were here on the live Discord the whole entire time. So they are the only one besides me, Noel, and Alpha Rift that knows what you're missing.
Yeah, and we would like to change that. So in 2 weeks, we're going to get back together with Alpha Riff, and we are going to try to recreate the magic, which means we're going to have a completely different second hour of the podcast than the one you listen to, but that's okay. We're still going to cover some of all of the cool shit.
Yep. Unfortunately, some of the reactions that were given in the first hour that we were going to lock behind a paywall can't even be locked behind the paywall because they are gone.
So all this really means is that we need to do more live podcasts, and you people need to tune in so you don't miss any of the cool shit, because technology sucks and fucks up.
Well, we went through. We have worked over the course of the day. This literally happened yesterday, and now this is the next day. I went through and figured out some backup servers. Hopefully, this won't happen again. But we are going to be doing these live for the future. So, and we're going to continue doing these live. So, keep up with our social media.
Yes.
Website. Our website, www.xchromosomepodcast.com. It has all the links to our social media. So this is Facebook, Instagram, which is never used, Twitter, which is sometimes used, everything.
Yes. And we do, just to remind everybody, we do have a Patreon page, and we have a total of, I think, 1 subscriber.
2 subscribers.
Okay.
Unless one of the subscribers left. Last time I checked, there were 2 subscribers. We have various different levels for the Patreon page. We're going to have, it's got all the podcasts except for the live podcasts that you can listen to when you join us. All the All the podcasts go to Patreon first the day or earlier before the podcast is released. There's going to be additional blog posts that will be out there first on Patreon. Otherwise, then there's going to be other bonus features that are just going to be locked on through further levels. If you look at our tiers, we have multiple things that you can get and help us out in the future. At www.patreon.com/X-Chromosome podcast.
And we want to thank both of our patrons. I'm trying to get their names so we can thank them directly. There they are. Well, at least here's the page. And of course, it's not making it easy for me to pull up. I will have your names for next week because we really appreciate you and your support. And everybody who likes and subscribes and all of that awesome stuff and writes us reviews, we appreciate you guys too. Please keep doing that. The reviews on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and Spotify and all that are just as important as the Patreon page for making sure we are able to bring good content and afford to do things like research in the future in case we hit paywalls for good articles.
That's really one of the things that come up. It's like every time I see a good article, it always seems like to be the Washington Post, and they do like 2 articles a month. And if you've already gotten them, it's like you can't read anything else that comes through with them. So yeah, it's like everything that goes into the Patreon will in some way get into the podcast.
Yes.
For either tech or helping with research or something of that nature, just to help grow and everything. And again, also with the reviews, it will help us if we ever try to get with a network. If we have good reviews, we'll be able to post that networks and hopefully spread the message even further.
Yeah. This is all important. If you think we're doing good work here, please throw some love so we can do better work. Shameless groveling, etc., etc. But we love you and we thank you for listening, and stay tuned in 2 weeks for the conclusion of our jam session with Alpha Rift. And next week,
next week we return to Rage.
Yes, next week, unless I die of another chest cold, we're gonna rant. So that'll be awesome.
To rant with us by giving us topics. Email address is writeuss@xchromosomepodcast.com. Give us stories, give us questions, give us any feedback, anything that you'd like us to talk about on the show. We'll read through it. We are going to be trying to move this weekly and get everything going from there.
Yes.
That is our half-assed
apology for not as long a podcast as you're used to. And I suppose it's a whole ass apology, but we feel super awkward about it, so we don't know how to handle any of this. But
next week, folks. My name is Bill.
I'm Noelle, and we all have an X chromosome.
All right, now I have to have my computer open Discord.
Fuck off, Craig. Craig, go away.